If you are hearing these words right now, this moment is not an accident, and it is not late. It is a divine interruption where heaven pauses your scrolling and meets you exactly where your strength has been thinning. This message finds you tired from trying so hard for so long, worn down by effort that has not yet turned into visible change, caught in days that feel repetitive and heavy with responsibility. You have carried worry about the future, pressure around finances or expectations, and a quiet doubt about your own value, all while telling yourself to stay strong and keep moving. The tears you held back were never weakness. They were a trigger. For most people, tears fade. For chosen ones, they activate consequences. When a chosen one cries, something in the unseen world is forced to respond. Heaven recognizes that exhaustion, the way your heart has been full while your hands felt empty, the sense that life has been standing still while you kept pushing forward. Your sorrow has not been wasted or ignored. It has been gathered, noticed, and honored. You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Psalm 56-8. There is meaning even in what you thought was breaking you. The season that stretched you to your limits is drawing to a close, and a divine shift is already in motion beneath what you can see. What God has been preparing does not arrive through force, but through timing, and that timing is now approaching with certainty. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, Revelation 21-4. Relief is beginning to replace pressure. Reassurance is settling where fear has lived, and hope is rising without you having to manufacture it. For most people, tears pass unnoticed. For a chosen one, tears mark a threshold the universe does not ignore. Stay with this moment, because what comes next will confirm what your spirit already senses and activate the deeper meaning behind why this interruption found you right now. Chosen one, this is the place where your pain has been misunderstood the most, because you were taught that tears mean weakness, when in truth, they were the final language of a heart that endured too much in silence. You have carried betrayal, disappointment, injustice, and emotional weight longer than anyone ever knew, holding yourself together while absorbing wounds that were never meant to be yours. When you finally broke, it was not because you were fragile. It was because you were faithful beyond human limits, because strength had done its work and truth needed air. Your tears did not fall from chaos. They fell from clarity, from the moment when your soul could no longer pretend that everything was fine. Pause. Heaven recognizes those tears as holy evidence of battles fought in secret, of love given without return, of hope sustained under pressure that would have crushed others. Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126-5. That promise meets you here because what you released was not despair. It was stored pain finally reaching its threshold. Think of Peter, who wept bitterly after his denial, not because he was finished, but because something false fell away and something truer was being born, and those tears marked the turning point before restoration. Your story carries the same gravity. You are not someone who cries over small things. You cry when the weight becomes too heavy, when injustice touches the core of your calling, when your kindness is repaid with cruelty, when the burden of holding space for others leaves you emptied. This is not emotional excess. This is emotional depth. Now hear this. Your tears have power. They are not random. They do not evaporate unnoticed, and they do not leave you diminished. They expose what has been hidden. They dismantle illusions, and they signal that a season has reached its limit. To give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, Isaiah 61-3. That exchange is already in motion. The world may have mistaken your endurance for invincibility, but heaven knows the cost you paid to stay compassionate, to stay open, to stay aligned while under attack. When you finally released that grief, something shifted. Not because you demanded justice, but because truth was acknowledged. Transition now. Restoration does not rush in loudly. It moves with authority. And balance is being restored in ways you do not need to orchestrate. You were never meant to carry collective pain alone, and the moment you let it go, the environment responded. This is not punishment for others. It is protection for you, and when protection activates, imbalance cannot remain uncorrected. You did not cry to destroy anything. You cried to survive. And survival has now given way to renewal. Stay with this moment, because what comes next will unlock the meaning behind what you released, confirm the shift you already feel, and activate the restoration that your tears set into motion. Chosen one. When your tears finally fell, it was not weakness spilling over. It was a signal released from a soul that had carried too much for too long, and heaven responded. You have been told that crying means you are breaking, but in truth, it means something ancient has been activated, because your pain was never invisible, and your endurance was never ordinary. You walked through betrayal, misunderstanding, spiritual pressure, and loneliness, while still choosing compassion, and that cost you more than anyone ever saw. When the weight became unbearable and the tears came, it was not collapse, it was alignment, the moment when what you carried met what was meant to carry you. Pause. Scripture confirms what your spirit already knows. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Psalm 9-9. Your tears did not fall into emptiness. They landed in protection. Think of Hagar in the wilderness, crying out unseen by people yet fully seen by God. And in that moment, provision appeared where none was visible before, because suffering triggered divine attention. That same pattern surrounds you now. Your journey does not operate under ordinary rules, and attempts to break you never end where they began. This is not about vengeance or punishment. It is about balance restoring itself when light is pushed too far. Touch not my anointed ones, do my prophets no harm. Psalm 105-15. That declaration does not announce itself loudly. It moves quietly, rearranging circumstances, shifting outcomes, and correcting what was out of alignment. When your tears fell, they carried truth, and truth demands response. Transition now. The stirring you feel afterward, the sense that something irreversible has begun, is not imagination. It is consequence in motion, not for destruction, but for elevation. You are protected in ways you cannot track, guarded by order beyond human awareness, and your pain has already been converted into momentum. Doors begin to open not because you demanded justice, but because endurance reached its limit and grace stepped in. Those who underestimated your softness mistook it for fragility, not realizing it was restraint, and restraint has power when released. Your suffering was not wasted. It was the catalyst that unlocked movement, clarity, and positioning you could not have reached without it. What rose from your lowest moment was not bitterness, but authority. Not collapse, but activation. Chosen ones are not meant to be broken quietly. When they are pushed too far, the unseen world responds decisively. The moment you thought you were breaking was the moment something irreversible began. Stay with this unfolding, because what comes next will confirm the protection surrounding you, unlock the elevation your tears initiated, and reveal why this moment had to break open exactly the way it did. Chosen one. There comes a point in your journey where the weight you carry no longer fits inside silence, where the mission on your life presses so deeply that even your strength asks for mercy. You have endured more than most could imagine, not only the betrayals, losses, and isolation, but the inner strain of holding a heart that feels too vast for the spaces you were placed in. When you cried, it was not because you were fragile, it was because your spirit reached the edge of what it could contain, and release became necessary for survival. Many assume you are built to endure endlessly, that your resilience makes you immune to pain, but that belief ignores the truth that your depth is what makes the pain sharper. You feel more, you hold more, and when sorrow finally breaks through, it carries weight beyond the personal. Pause. Scripture gives language to this unseen burden. I weep for those whose day is hard. My soul grieves for the poor. Job 30-25. Your tears were never selfish. They were interwoven with compassion, with carrying pain that was never meant to live in one body. Think of Jacob at Peniel, wrestling through the night until his strength gave out, refusing to let go until something changed. And when dawn came, he emerged limping yet renamed, marked by encounter rather than defeat. Your breaking point functions the same way, not as an ending, but as the threshold where identity shifts. Now hear this. When you reach that point, Intervention was already in motion, because heaven responds when endurance turns into honest release. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30:5. That morning is not noise or spectacle. It is recalibration, a quiet rearranging of what no longer aligns. The tears you shed did not weaken you. They reset you, dissolving attachments, clearing paths, and loosening what had held you in cycles that no longer fit your calling. This is why, after deep sorrow, clarity often follows. Why relationships fall away. Why environments shift. Why something inside you awakens with certainty you did not have before. Your tears do not only cleanse your own path, they signal that old structures can no longer contain what you are becoming. This is not punishment for anyone, and not revenge written into fate. It is balance restoring itself when pressure has exceeded purpose. You are not losing your life. You are shedding what cannot travel with you. Stay with this moment, because what comes next will unlock the meaning behind this release, confirm the shift already underway, and activate the new beginning that your tears have prepared the way for. Chosen one. There is a holy exhaustion that comes from being good to people who were not good to you, from staying pure-hearted while others played with your name, your trust, and your tenderness. And the deepest ache is not just what they did, but how alone you felt while it happened. You carried it quietly, tried to stay gracious, tried to keep moving, yet some nights the weight became too heavy and tears came without permission, because your spirit could not hold the injustice anymore. Those tears were not weakness. They were evidence that you reached the end of self-protection and stepped into divine protection, because you were never built to absorb harm endlessly without heaven taking notice. Pause. Your pain has not been overlooked, not for a second. And the silence you experienced was not absence. It was God holding back what you were tempted to handle yourself. There is a reason you are still standing after what should have shattered you. And it is not because you are invincible. It is because you are covered. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble. And he knows those who take refuge in him. Nahum 1-7. That knowing is not distant awareness. It is intimate protection. The kind that follows you into rooms where you had to smile through betrayal. The kind that sits with you when your chest tightens and you wonder how people can sleep after hurting someone who only wanted peace. Your tears did not create revenge. They created release. And release makes room for God to restore what was disrupted. This is why the weight begins to shift after the breaking point. Why the atmosphere changes. Why the grip of the past starts loosening even before anything looks different on the outside. Transition now. What was out of balance is being corrected, not by your hands, not by your words, not by you proving what happened, but by a higher order that does not forget truth. You do not have to chase justice or narrate your pain to everyone who refused to see it. You are being vindicated in ways that do not require your exhaustion. Think of David in the cave when Saul was vulnerable, the moment when the world would have called it fair to strike back. The moment when pain could have justified retaliation, and yet David chose restraint. Not because he was weak, but because he understood that what God establishes does not need human vengeance to be defended. That same restraint has been forming in you, and it has cost you, because it is harder to release the outcome than to control it, harder to stay clean than to get even, harder to trust God with the story when you want immediate relief. But heaven honors the one who refuses to become what hurt them. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Romans 8:28. This does not erase what happened, and it does not dismiss your tears. It seals the truth that your suffering is not the end of you. It is the place where your refinement began. People may assume they can mistreat a pure-hearted person and continue untouched, but the spiritual reality is that harm creates ripples, and those ripples return alignment in ways no one can predict or manage. Often, this harm came from those closest to you, wrapped in familiarity, expectation, or unspoken obligation. Not because you are better than anyone else, but because the assignment on your life cannot be permanently derailed by cruelty. You may forgive, and you will, because your heart is not built to live in bitterness. Yet forgiveness does not mean you carry consequences that belong to someone else. Your tears have already marked the boundary where mistreatment stops and restoration starts, where the old season loses its permission, where what was hidden comes into light. This is why, after deep sorrow, chosen ones often experience sudden clarity, new discernment, and unexpected doors. Not because pain is romantic, but because pain strips away the false, the draining, and the misaligned. You have felt that stripping. The way certain connections no longer feel safe, the way certain places no longer fit, the way your spirit refuses to shrink back into old patterns just to keep others comfortable. That is not you becoming cold, that is you becoming free. What was meant to break you has been turned into fuel, not loud fuel, not chaotic fuel, but steady power that rebuilds you from the inside out. The same tears that made you feel embarrassed or exposed are now watering the future God has been forming beneath the surface. And the people who underestimated you will not have to be punished for you to rise. Your rise will not need explanation. Those who underestimated you will recognize it without being told. You are not trapped in that chapter anymore, even if the memory still stings, because the sting is leaving and the strength is staying. Hold on to this. You do not need to force the door. You do not need to fight for vindication, and you do not need to explain yourself into being believed, because God is handling what you cannot carry. Stay with what comes next, because the next part will unlock the deeper meaning of this correction, confirm the protection surrounding you, and activate the peace that arrives when you finally realize the outcome was never yours to control. Chosen one. After the tears fell and the weight finally loosened, something else began to happen that felt confusing and even painful at first. People started to fade from your life without warning. Some left quietly, some resisted, and were removed anyway. And you wondered if the loss meant you were being abandoned, when in truth, you were being realigned. What you felt as sudden loneliness was not rejection, but redirection. Because when your heart broke open, your energy shifted, and anything that could not honor that shift could not remain. You have been carrying connections that no longer matched who you were becoming, holding space for people who benefited from your kindness but could not walk with your calling, and the pain became the line where that season ended. Pause. Scripture confirms this gentle but firm separation. The Lord goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. What left was never your covering, and what remains is not empty. It is protected. Think of Abraham being called to leave familiar land and relationships, not because they were evil, but because they could not contain what was being promised next. Separation was the doorway, not the punishment. Transition now. This clearing is preparation for elevation, because growth demands space, and space often comes through release. The ache you felt when people disappeared was grief for what was familiar, not proof that you were losing ground. Your spirit knows this, even when your emotions struggle to catch up. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Isaiah 43:18-19. That new thing cannot unfold while old attachments still define you. Chosen ones often experience the sharpest changes after emotional breaking points. Relocating, changing direction, stepping into environments they never planned, because pain clarified what comfort never could. You were not being stripped, you were being lightened, and what fell away was what would have slowed you down later. This is why your comeback will not resemble your past, because the version of you returning has vision sharpened by loss, discernment strengthened by disappointment, and authority formed through endurance. History reflects this pattern again and again. Those who were rejected, underestimated, and pushed aside often returned not to prove anything, but to fulfill what could not be stopped. When chosen ones cry, transformation begins quietly, and by the time others notice, the change is already complete. You were not defeated in that moment, you were reformed, and the pain that felt like collapse was actually construction happening beneath the surface. What you thought you lost was making room for what can finally meet you at your true level. Stay with this unfolding, because what comes next will activate understanding about who was removed and why, unlock peace about the loneliness you felt, and confirm that this clearing was the doorway into a season you no longer have to fight to enter. Before anything else, let the pressure dissolve, because you do not need to correct yourself. prove your readiness, or carry more weight to deserve what is unfolding. You are allowed to stop right here. In this season, alignment begins not with effort, but with permission. The permission to pause without guilt and to exist without performing. You are invited to start your day by noticing where your body is held, the floor beneath your feet, the chair supporting your back, letting your nervous system remember that you are supported before you do anything else. You don't need to chase clarity. You can allow clarity to arrive by choosing fewer inputs, softer mornings, and quieter evenings, trusting that stillness is not stagnation, but preparation. Rest can be very small, like stepping away from conversations that drain you, choosing not to revisit old memories that reopen wounds, or allowing yourself to leave a space the moment your peace begins to thin. You are invited to trust that God is active even when you are still, that nothing meant for you is delayed by rest, and that vigilance has never been the same as faith. Release may look like letting unanswered messages remain unanswered, allowing relationships to exist at a distance without explanation, or placing worries about timing and provision into prayer without revisiting them repeatedly. You don't need to carry tomorrow in your chest tonight. You can allow each day to hold only what belongs to it. Receiving may feel unfamiliar, but it can begin gently, allowing help without suspicion, allowing good moments without waiting for loss, allowing yourself to be met without rehearsing defenses. You don't need long words or perfect prayers. Even silence is understood here. Alignment in this season is not about doing more, but about doing less with intention, choosing presence over pressure, trust over control. Rest is not giving up. It is the space where the next movement is quietly formed. You are not abandoning responsibility by loosening your grip. You are returning it to the one who never asked you to carry it alone. You don't need to understand the whole path or manage the outcome, because what is meant for you will arrive at the right time without being forced, and you are safe to rest while God completes what you cannot. As this message settles, allow what has moved within you to rest without needing to be explained or resolved. Nothing you felt was misplaced, and nothing stirred in you without purpose. The tiredness, the release, the recognition, and the quiet sense of peace all belong here, held gently in this moment. You are not late, you are not off course, and you have not been overlooked. The pace of your journey is aligned with the season you are walking through, and even the pauses carry meaning. What you have endured, what you have released, and what you are learning to trust have all shaped you without disqualifying you. It is safe now to soften, to stop searching for proof, and to let yourself be supported rather than striving to hold everything together. You are not alone in this space, and you never have been. Remain here in the calm that follows, allowing the quiet to deepen as we move gently toward the prayer that comes next. As the noise settles and the moment softens, there is space here to be held without effort and without explanation. God, we bring before you the parts of us that are tired beyond words, the quiet exhaustion that comes from carrying responsibility too long, the worry about tomorrow that lingers even when we try to rest, and the fear that whispers when the future feels unclear. You see the weight we have carried in silence, the seasons where progress felt slow, the moments where hope flickered but did not disappear, and we place all of it before you now, not as a demand, not as a test, but as an offering of release. We remember your promise, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew 11:28. And we allow that rest to begin here, in this breath, in this pause. We lay down the need to control outcomes, the urge to understand every step, and the habit of bracing ourselves for disappointment, trusting that you are present even when answers are not yet visible. Like Elijah under the broom tree, depleted and ready to give up, you met him not with correction, but with care, with food, with rest, with quiet presence, and we receive that same gentleness now. In the center of this prayer, we affirm that you are working even when nothing seems to move, arranging what we cannot reach, protecting what we cannot see, and guiding us without requiring constant effort. Your word says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Exodus 14:14. And in that stillness, we feel peace begin to replace strain, trust loosening the grip of fear, and reassurance settling where anxiety once lived. We declare calm over restless thoughts, provision over scarcity, guidance over confusion, and presence over loneliness, not because we are strong enough, but because you are faithful. We entrust you with what remains unresolved, with finances, timing, relationships, and direction, believing that nothing entrusted to you is misplaced or forgotten. As this prayer slows, we rest in the truth that we are not alone, not abandoned, and not late, and that even now, you are completing what we cannot finish ourselves. We receive this moment as enough, this breath as safe, this pause as sacred, and we leave what we cannot carry in your care. Thank you for staying in this space, for allowing yourself to be held here, and for walking through this quiet moment together. May the peace that settled now remain with you as you go, gentle, steady, and assured that you are seen, guided, and kept. If something in you recognized this truth, leaving it unspoken keeps it trapped. Writing it is how release begins. Writing it here is not just a comment. It is an act of entrusting, setting what you carry before God, trusting that He sees, listens, and holds it with care in His perfect timing. If this moment brought you peace, you may share it with someone who needs the same reassurance, and you are welcome to subscribe to stay connected to these quiet spaces of rest. You are not alone, and this moment is being held in God's presence and grace.